Hey everybody, it's Heather. I wanted to share a couple of things since it's becoming October. Now it's October, so a lot of people, raw foodists like to get into, we like to get into trying to, I just realized I'm probably cutting my head off. We like to get into having recipes and making juices and different things with seasonal foods. So pumpkin is a seasonal food, as everybody knows. I just wanted to share a quick recipe of what, and a couple of ideas for some other things that you can do with this pumpkin stuff that I've made here. This is actually a pumpkin pie filling that I've made with raw pumpkin. What I did was I took a small pumpkin like this. They call these pie pumpkins or American pie pumpkins. I took it, I cut it in half. Actually, I cut it in like fourths and then cut those in half. I basically cut it into some chunk pieces, and then I carved the pumpkin meat out and chopped it up and diced it into really small pieces. And I took that and I soaked it. You can either soak it for like 3 hours, or you can do what I did. I put it in the fridge. I just soaked them in water, put a lid on it, and put it in the fridge and stuck it in there overnight. Then, oh wait, before you do that, take the pieces that you've just cut, put them in the dehydrator. That's what I did. I put them in the dehydrator for like 2 or 3 hours. Don't let them get crusty and hard. Make sure they're still soft, but it kind of cooks them a little, but you know, not enough. You can still call it raw. It's still pretty raw. And then I soaked them overnight in some water, just enough water to kind of cover them, because they don't really soak in the water. It just... Anyway, and I prepared the crust ahead of time. The crust was, let me see, I'm pulling it up, the recipe, because I can't remember it. The crust was 2 cups of pecans and 4 dates. You'll want to soak those, and the pecans, you might want to dry them a little bit, like in your dehydrator, or lay them out, depending on how your humidity is. You might not need a dehydrator, but if it's humid, you might want to put them in the dehydrator. So that would be the crust, and you'll take those in the pecans already soaked, and the dates, you'll soak those too, just until they're soft. And then you'll process those in the food processor with the dates, and you can press those into a 1/8-inch, pie tin. I made the mistake of trying to make little mini ones because I wanted my little guy to eat them. And I put them in the cupcake tins, but I didn't put, what I needed to get, and I'm going to do next time, is the little cupcake, the foil, aluminum foil cupcake ones, because those still get hard and they kind of act like the pie tins. So I'm going to try that next time, because it stuck and it really wasn't, it didn't come, they tasted great, but they didn't come out easily accessible like I wanted. So muffin tins is going to be a good way to go with that. So okay, for the pie filling, what you'll want to do is do like I said, take it, dice it, dehydrate it, then soak them. It's kind of labor intensive, but believe me, it's so worth it. You'll have 5 cups of pumpkin that's diced up. You'll take 3 cups of water. That's going to be just differently divided though. 1/2 of a cup of agave nectar. This is what I used. That's to sweeten it. Some people added, the recipe that I found, they added maple syrup. I didn't put that in there. I don't think it's necessary to add that. It tasted great without it. I guess if you're a sugar addict, then you can add that, but you know, we didn't need it. It says to add 1/2 of a cup of coconut butter. I didn't have that, so I just added shredded coconut, 1/2 a cup of that in with it. You're going to put all these in your food processor or your blender. 1/2 of a cup of cashews that are already soaked. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 a teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cloves, since they're a lot stronger. What I did was, for the pie filling, I took all of those ingredients, threw them all in my blender, and chopped them all up. Added just water. It says, the recipe says 3 cups of water, but I didn't add all of the water. I added the water later and just did enough water. So I don't know the exact measurement. I did just enough water to get it to move in the blender. I didn't want it too watery, too watered down. And So I did all of that, and it came out amazing. This stuff tastes awesome. And I had like a lot of pie filling left, and since I did mini pies, I don't know if all of this fills up. I obviously didn't use all of mine. If it fills up an entire pie, I'm sure it does. But what I did was I just made the little mini tins, did those, and had some left over, and this is where my other ideas come in. I made a smoothie, a pumpkin smoothie with this, and I put about a cup of this in with some fresh almond milk that I made, about, I don't know, half of a cup of fresh almond milk, depending on how creamy you want it, and a handful of ice, and just a touch of vanilla, and it was so tasty. It was awesome. And then so that's a pumpkin smoothie that I've done. Oh, I added maca in there as well. Maca is great for a coffee substitute. I use it a lot for stuff like that because it gives you the same energy that coffee would, only you don't have that the downer that you get after you drink coffee. You go up, then you wind up coming back down. Maca doesn't do that. It's all natural, so it's so incredibly good for you. Women, if you're wanting, a lot of people, and I use, we're trying to have a baby, so I use it for a prenatal. Maca is such a superfood and full of such nutrients that a lot of women use it for prenatal vitamins because it's so packed full of stuff. Of course, we juice and do other things as well, so I'm not relying on that for my full nutrients. But anyway, so you've got pumpkin pie. Now you've got a pumpkin pie smoothie, or what I call a pumpkin spice smoothie. To me, it tastes just like the Starbucks frap, only you can, strain this out. If you don't want to use the chunks that are in here, you can take those out and make it a frap. And the maca kind of has a little bit of a nutty flavor, which makes it kind of coffee tasting. And you do, if you put enough in there, you could probably put a tablespoon, depending on how hyped you want to get. You could put 2, but I would start with 1 tablespoon of maca powder, and that would be really good too. And then here's my other brainy idea, which I haven't tried this one yet, but I know it would be awesome. You could take a cup of the pie filling and put that in the blender along with a huge handful of ice and add fresh apple juice. I would say maybe a half of a cup of fresh apple juice. And that would be kind of a festive, Christmassy, Thanksgiving type smoothie. So those are some great ideas for you, things that you can do with pumpkins. I hope that y'all have a great day.